Hello there, friend. You are a spider. I am not a spider. Hello everyone, I am Tessellating Hexagons, and this is A Hat in Time, and we're in the Subcon Forest because in the last episode I spent a bit too long just kind of bumbling around the universe and dealing with fire spirits, and also Queen Vanessa's mansion and other things. Possibly the Toilet of Doom. I don't know, this recording session is all starting to blend together. For now, let's head into this time rift that we spent so long pursuing. So, the official name for this free real estate is just Village. And of course, and no further reaction on my part, just of course, this is the Dweller Mask mission, except we have bells as well, but just bring the Dweller Mask or you will suffer just a little bit. But the good thing with using the bells rather than the Dweller Mask is you can physically see where their limit is, because when you ring them, apart from one, maybe two exceptions, like they start off big and start expanding. They expand in reverse, they get smaller. And obviously with the Dweller Mask, it's in a binary state. Either it's on or it's off. When it runs out of time, it just shuts off immediately. So if you're not ready, then you're not ready. But with the bells, you can see when they're about to run out, or rather where they're about to run out. So there are pros and cons of both. And so it's just easier to come into this mission knowing that you can augment the bells with your own abilities. And I think there's an outside chance that I don't know. I know there is at least one of these missions that requires the Dweller Mask that you literally cannot do without the Dweller Mask, I think. I remember the layout of the level, I just don't remember if there are bells there. Also, I normally go left around this. I say normally, I've done it exactly once. So I'll just go this way. And you could either use the Dweller Mask there or the Hookshot Badge. Presumably you'll have at least one of those two. I'm not even sure if this this time rift will even spawn unless you've done the Subcon well. And of course, to beat the Subcon well, you need to have the Hookshot Badge. So, unless I'm sure there's some speedrunner who's magically been able to clear the Subcon well without using the Hookshot Badge, and I tip my hat to them. But just I don't like that color. I don't like that hat flare. I don't like that flat hair. I don't like hat flares in general. I just want to have the default hats. Is that really so difficult? Well, anyway. Do we have enough ponds to repair the last doohickey? I think we need 100 for it. And yes, yes, I am ever so slightly stalling for time while I wait to beat the final thing of the Subcon Forest. So, I don't remember what the order is here. Is it just stack them and then... What? Okay. I can never remember it. Yeah, that's what I thought. See, I thought it was stack the cows and then put the UFO on top. But nope, you have to put the UFO first so they're suspended accordingly. So there is a correct order. Like, for instance, with the crayons, if you put anything other than the box first, then it'll just stack the crayons on top of each other. So, just... if you tried to build the burger cushion backwards, it won't let you, and I'm not sure what it looks like if you put the train relic the wrong way around. That would be rather amusing to try on a separate save file, but for now, we could go and face the boss of the Subcon Forest and finally reclaim our soul, maybe, ? Or we could go and do another time rift, because I'm just a Mingus Kingus like that. Now that took me forever to find when I was playing the game for myself for the first time, and I'm just a doofus. That said, I don't actually remember where it is. It's probably in that part of the forest that we just opened in the last episode. Also, on the map screen, you can even see the sort of water spout in Mafia Town. And admittedly, it's in the Subcon Forest palette, if you look at it from the Subcon Forest map, but it's still quite obviously the thing from Mafia Town, so I have no excuse for thinking that they're all different planets. I'm just silly in the head. Just go through the platform, because that's how the Dweller Mask works, and... yeah, solidity works kind of weirdly with these if you re-solidify them when you're inside them. Just like in the real world tee-hee euphemism. Well, once again, we'll do what we did before and bumble around and see what comes of it, because, as I said, there's gold in them thar trees.
New around here.
Don't flirt with me, Noose. It's like a metaphor or something. There's something glowing up there, so I guess we should head that way. Somehow. Gotta love how the nooses aren't attached to anything, though. That I feel as though they should really... That looks like an oversight on the part of the developers, but I don't know. Maybe it's artistic flair and integrity. And the other thing with this forest is it's really hard to tell where you've been and where you're going. And oh, look, there's stuff down there. Now, can I do a really clever jump here? I can, and I did. Yum yum. Because I want to find a compelling way of getting over there, and I think, if I'm clever about it, I can just land right on the sprint yarn. Now, I don't have to hand a comprehensive list of all the shit in this forest, so I have no way of knowing. Locked tree. If I have all of it, or if I'm even approaching having all of it, so... Spoons! Sorry, I'm getting distracted by everything. It's like that one time with the tiny bird, which I've told that story before. Hello. I don't remember whether that was on a stream or in a video, so I'm just not going to tell it. And then you'll just have to watch all of my content from day one in order to figure out the story of the tiny bird. But on the plus side, look at all this yarn we're getting. So that by the time we have the next flavor of yarn, we'll be able to make the hat straight away, except we won't because it costs like 24. And I don't trust these structures not to have stuff inside them, so always worth checking, even though it's not, because it'll be obvious when there's something inside it, but whatever. Whatever. Anyway, we're brewing hat for the first time in forever. Boom. Ice hat. No, I want the Dweller Mask because it's thematically appropriate. Very strange angle to hookshot there, but hey-ho. Another Rift token. I'll spend those at some point. I keep forgetting they're there because... Oh. I found the Rift. This took me forever to find because I didn't even know this existed when I played for myself until I went out of my way to search the entire forest. Oh, but there's more collectibles. Everything is a distraction here. And as I said, I have no way of... Oh, there's another one over there as well. I have no way of telling if I'm approaching 100% or whatever. Like, there's so much stuff. And I don't know. I don't know anything. And yep, even though they're brown, these are also part of the purple rift stuff, so you can go through them when you're wearing the mask. Now, how do I get to my next goal? Just keep trying and believe in yourself. That's how you achieve any goal.
Steve from work went to the moon last spring. He said it was great. Darn Steve. He always has to one-up me. I'll show him with a postcard from the moon. This is all right. I can see myself having a picnic here. Still, it's no moon. Gotta get up there so I can send a postcard to Steve from work.
I literally did not know he was there. Like, I was not aware that this was a thing. Anyway, do we have an apple handy? A handy apple? Huh, that's actually kind of funny because Americans and candy apples, except we call them toffee apples. I'm not sure if there's a difference. Though, I am reminded of my younger days, he says, rubbing his nose, and, like, we don't have taffy in this country, it's just not a thing. But I remember hearing it referenced on Cartoon Network, and asking my parents, so what is taffy then? And my mother being like, oh, that's just what Americans call toffee, and like, it isn't. I mean, I know we tend not to give Americans that much credit for most things in this household, but I'm fairly sure they know the difference between taffy and toffee. So please, anyone in the audience who happens to be of an American persuasion, feel free to weigh in. Ooh, there's more ponds. Now, that's one thing that I heard in a mini review of this game, how money in this game, or, well, the ponds, it never feels as though you're just collecting to fill up a number, and I agree with that, because they're so versatile, they're used for so many things that, like, it's always worth your while to collect them. So, credit to you, Jonas Karlev, or is it Jonas, or is it Karlev, or, I don't know, it's a Danish guy and his initials are JK, so make of that what you will. Okay, now that we've finished bumbling around like a practitioner of the martial art of stank, that wasn't intended to mean anything, we can head towards the pond. It's not a pond, it's a rift. There are rift ponds inside it. That's where I got mixed up there. Because I don't speak English. We've been over this many, many times. But before we actually dive in there, we should go around the outside. I don't know if you can stand on these glass fragments. I'm not entirely sure what this is meant to be. Is it like a shattered hourglass, but on a macro scale? Or, I don't know, it's something. It's a big old something. And oh look, another rift token. How do you track how many of these you have? Like, is it just in this menu and I'm just not seeing it? Because I'm not seeing it. Well, it mattereth not. I'm not seeing any other rainbow sparkly auras in the immediate vicinity, so I shall just... For 3! I was not expecting to stick the landing there. Well, so be it. We shall head to Sleepy Subcon. And that wasn't weird timing on my part in editing. I actually already knew this place was called Sleepy Subcon, because look at these little... These are normally enemies, and they float around being all sleepy and they ground pound at you, but just here, just for one night only, they're just here being sleepy and cute, and also there are 9 collectibles here. This is a bit of a doozy. So just meander around and do your best. I don't have the exact numbers of how many collectibles there are in each area, but good. Because of how these levels are laid out, certainly in Sleepy Subcon, it's a bit easier to see. Like, you can survey most of the level and know if you've been somewhere, because it's easier to see the sparkly auras of collectibles from a distance, is the gist of what I'm getting at here. And just gonna pop around here because I think they do it at least twice in this level. Or if not twice, they do it at least twice in the game, hiding map pieces behind the exit. So be cautious. Also, take advantage of how much you can maximize your jump by doing various motions in the air. Because look how many map pieces there are just in this one room. I think that's 4 in a single... Well, they're officially called floors. I call them sub-levels, because that's what they are. Well, they're also floors. They're floors and sub-levels and lions and tigers and bears, oh my, and there's stuff over there, and there's so many places I need to go, and so little time, except, yeah, we're a decent felf into the episode, so it's not so bad. Good. That was good. I'm happy with this. Was not expecting that to work, though. And yet, here we are. Give me that them thar pond there, though. So many rift ponds. Now, can I make this jump? Oh, but I can, though. Did I come through this area earlier and completely miss that I could hookshot that way? Also, frame weirdness. Funny, because in collecting these things, we're actually reducing the number of things on screen, so... Also, I don't even need to tell you this, but if you get hit by that wrecking ball, then you take a single point of damage, and recoil accordingly. Anyway, 5 out of 9. That sounds about right. Land so that I can fight you and steal your pawn. Because, yeah, those shockwaves hurt you, and if an enemy has a pawn inside it, it's fairly obvious, and everything here is self-evident. Now, I feel as though the rift pawns should make a slightly different noise when you collect them, but they make a different noise when you have the last one you need to open the next floor, like that, so no big deal. Yeah, especially because Sleepy Subcon is so, like, sort of dark and wide open, apart from the previous room, which was obviously bright and fiery, but it's all open and, like, it's clear to see from a distance when you're missing stuff. So this level isn't that hard, but, like, the one in Mafia Town, for instance, that's surprisingly easy to miss bits of the story in, just because, you know, it's brightly coloured and there are a load of buildings that could potentially obstruct your view, so it's forgivable to miss pieces there, and the challenge in this particular rift is just there are a lot of map pieces, try not to miss them, especially because they pull shit like this, hiding them behind the exit. And because I have the magnet badge on, you don't even need to go that far out your way just to collect them. Ooh, a glittering bucket, except inside the bucket is our friend. Now, it's fairly obvious just by looking, but these towers collapse when you stand on them, so be ready to move your boobs. That, Also, you can sort of get caught on the lips of the turret edges, and jump carefully, but jump with care and confidence. And you should have 8 when leaving this room because there is one in the next room. That I remember with certainty. Boink. Boink is always such a good word, and I thank Joth Ending for reminding me of its existence. Into the hole we go. Now, in the last main room, weird enemies that don't appear anywhere else in Subcon Forest. Like, you don't see these anywhere else in Chapter 3, unless you do and I just haven't found them, but other people have reacted in the same way to seeing them. Like, they don't appear anywhere else in the chapter as far as most people care. I'm walking on nothing, whoa. So yeah, that's a really well hidden piece of fuck. Because why would you think to come down here? And in fact, when I did this level for the first time, I came all the way down here and didn't see that hole in the wall there. I mean, I didn't miss that, but I did come back down and check a second time when I thought there was nothing down there, because I thought this is too conspicuous not to have something down there, and I was right. I had to check twice before I noticed there was a way in. Because that's trouble that I have with this computer in general. If you look at the monitor from the wrong angle, it's really easy to miss-see, like, it's hard to see dark stuff. Come on, fight me so I can take your pawn and just lay claim to having 100% of this level completely unnecessarily. Whew. Okay. Smack that rift. Smack that rift up. That's a reference to a song, I'm sure. You're not escaping. 135. And a timepiece. We out. Except it's not the end of the episode, and also we should be receiving a story. It's going to be slightly longer because there were more pieces to this one. The Tale of Queen Vanessa. So there were a prince and the princess, and they're in love, and they like the townsfolk, and clearly they're not the forest dwellers or anything, and then one day the princess saw the prince talking to Wendy, and they were holding hands, and she was sad, and he was just buying her flowers, and she misunderstood, and she refused to listen to the explanation because she was too ready to be bitter, even though he has a really good explanation here. She just got so embittered that she chained him up in the basement, and then he turned into the Snatcher, and she turned into Queen Vanessa. One of those romantic farces that could just be solved by talking. I don't want to dress like Sweden. The instant way to my heart is with remixes, because there's one from Chapter 2 that I really want to get on this file, and fine, I'll take the hat flare. It's a different hat flare from the previous one, though. This one has stripes, the previous one had a bow. Just because a lot of the top hat flares look rather similar, so, yeah, no. And I suppose we should go and beat the boss of the Subcon Forest and maybe reclaim our soul, depending on how the contract works out. Term of the day, Deceptive Cadence. That's a very ominous, chapter title, screen, everything. Now, this is a boss that I feel like it's harder than it is, because I had no trouble doing it when I played it for myself, but it felt hard. It felt hard. Okay, I'll just say it again. Well, clearly we could just go and grab the timepiece and nothing will stand in my way.
Wait up, kid. Remember how the old contractor had his head pop off? That wasn't a coincidence. It popped off the moment he stopped being useful to me. And guess who else just became obsolete? That's right. You. Now that possessed outhouse isn't bothering me anymore, and all those contracts of yours are tidied away, I don't need you around. Besides, you didn't think I was gonna let you keep all these timepieces, did you? They fell in my forest, kid. They belong to me!
I shall fight you, sir. Oh yeah, I forgot he steals your hat for this fight, so you can't cheap it out with certain hats, even if you wanted to. Visual effects! And a spooky dooky doo. Because that's the onomatopoeia for spookery.
Time you saw what I'm really capable of, kid. Say goodbye to that little head of yours!
So as I said, because Queen Vanessa was the second last mission that I did in the game, well, the third last, and then this was the second last, and then the final mission was the last one I did. That means that I had the contract of my soul hanging over me for the entirety of the game. And this is why I mentioned paying attention to them turning blue, just because it's referenced here and it never occurred to me until I saw this dialogue box.
Sorry, kiddo. Blue doesn't suit me. And I guess that makes me invincible, huh? That's too bad.
Oh well. Clearly there's no way of fighting the boss. How dare you aim so well? 1,000! An entire 1,000, just to show what graphics the GameCube is capable of. Because this is the GameCube. Just the one. And so he does that. I like the Tom shittery that he pulls in this boss, but I've said before, it's a rather intimidating boss, but once a certain thing happens, it sort of turns into a joke. Also, I appreciate just all the aesthetic this boss has. Just don't touch anything. And I admit, the first damage that I took was just me being profoundly careless. Oh no. Oh dear. Oh no.
Did you just color me blue with my own attack? This can't count, right? Surely this doesn't count. That does it. Time to die!
Nah. Death doesn't suit me. What, if you can use that excuse, then so can I. There we go. It's sort of difficult to aim that attack, because the game can be a bit fussy about it, and I swear I dodged that, and I'm just gonna... For some reason I was stuck in crawl mode, which I'm not sure what caused that. There you go, just take damage and live with it. You can't touch me, even with your nonsense. Also, am I mistaken, or is this literally just the same arena as the Toilet of Doom, but just without the hookshot thing in the middle? Because, I mean, that is where we reclaimed the timepiece, except we didn't. We were just promised a timepiece that we could never actually have. And by the way, in case it wasn't obvious, the eye that he winks with in that dark attack is just... Excuse you? Excuse you? Okay, we're back on that phase. Well, just the general phase where you can fight back, which I have never had problems with. I've done this boss exactly once before, and it was a piece of piss. So, you know, I can't help but take it personally that I took damage, just because he gets in the way there. But it's because I was careless, I will own that. And to the right again. When I fought him for the first time, it was always the one on the left. So, also, I appreciate that when you refight this boss after, it's either because I died, or because I skipped the, he steals your hat cutscene. But, either way, excuse you, thank you. His hitbox isn't obvious there. Excuses, I know, but his first blue attack is the one that you can counter immediately, and also he doesn't do any of the text boxes. I appreciate that, that's good game design. Again, I'm being so careless by not really bothering to dodge these. Oh good, it's the attack that kills me every time. I jumped over that. Fuck off. Oh hey, I actually got a heart pun this time. Is the game pitching me, or was I just not receiving those before for bad reasons? Oh come on, there was, like, no matter which way I would have run, that would have hit me no matter what. I object. I was moving there. For some reason, Hat Kid has taken to just stopping and crawling when I'm using the dive attack, and I'm not sure what's causing that. Blame the game, not the player. As I said before, this boss isn't difficult, I'm just being ultra careless in a way that reflects poorly on me as a player, even though it's not an accurate representation of how I normally play, which I was talking about on a stream of mine recently. Just that, like, I hate it when I do badly at a game, because that implies that that's how I normally play, and I don't, and so it reflects poorly on me, especially because in saying I'm not normally this bad, it sounds like I'm making excuses, which makes me look even worse as a player and like some sort of bratty baby. Anyway, we win. There we go.
You're such a disrespectful young lady. I feel so weak. Please, have mercy. Please, have a seat.
Hello.
All these timepieces landed in my forest. They are my property. So, let's make a deal, young lady. You get out of my forest, and we never see you again. How's that sound for a deal?
I don't know, I'd have to peruse the contract first.
Not a fan. Too bad. You don't make the calls here. Here, I'll even make it easier for you. Now, all that's left is for you to sign it.
Now, As someone who writes contracts for a living, you really should know that that's a really big mistake to give a contractor a blank check that's already got your seal of approval on it. Oh, my diggy fresh friendo. We could do all of this. We really could. But you have given us a blank check, to be fair, so stay and have fun. None of that. We'll just be nice and just have a fantastic time. All of it! So, we have cleared our contract, we have got to keep all the timepieces. There was something else I was going to say and I forget what it was. He will be our BFF.
You understand that's not how contracts work, right?
Too bad, you already stamped it.
I'm giving you a chance to scram, kid. There's no catches or clauses this time. What if I give you your soul back? Will that make you leave?
Incoming, the most iconic line of the game, and also millennial humor. You got your soul back. You feel relieved, energized, and just the usual amount of empty. Girl, same.
Yes? No? Hello? Are you there? Why aren't you saying anything?
Oh yeah, that was it. In some missions, you can actually go to the room inside the base of the giant mushroom tree thing, and he'll just be sitting there and he'll tell you to fuck off. Well, he won't swear at you, but he'll tell you to go away because you need to go and do your contract stuff.
You're quite the character, aren't you? And a tough negotiator. Fine. I'll sweeten the deal for you.
You could have just given us that to begin with, as long as you give us our hat back, of course.
Take my last timepiece. If I continue to see you around my forest after this, I'll be very disappointed.
Well, you see, I think there are still some rift tokens and or yarn pieces in the swamp area leading to the subcon well, so no promises. But for now, I have been and will continue to be tessellating hexagons, and for now, let's get the fuck out of subcon forest. We're done with chapter 3. See you in the next episode for probably chapter 2, or maybe 4. We shall just have to see.